Good morning, guys. I've literally just woke up. Well, I haven't been awake long. This video is going to be a little bit different today, and it's mostly going on to what I've seen on various pagan sites, and I just thought to kind of address certain things that I've really, which I really find quite ridiculous, really, and quite, not nice. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of swearing in here because it does actually quite annoy me, and so let's get on with the topic. So what I have noticed, especially on sites, like Amino, and I'm not quite sure about Discord pages, that people that study ancient Greece, Roman, Egypt, and also study the religion for their religious studies in school, Greece, Roman, and Egypt, that they all seem to assume that everyone studies ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, and even in their religious studies, study ancient Egypt, Greece, and Roman religion in religious studies in school. Well, not everyone does, because it all goes on the area. I know that when I was at school, I grew up in West Yorkshire in Featherstone, so my history lessons were all Vikings and Tudors. When I moved to Bradford, again, which is part of West Yorkshire, for religious studies, I studied the Islam religion and Christianity. In Wakefield of West Yorkshire, you would study ancient Egypt and the Tudors. In religious studies, you would have studied the ancient Egyptian religion and also Christianity. And I know that those that tend to study everything at school tend to get cocky towards people like me, claiming that we're stupid, claiming that we're thick, claiming that we've gone and studied it in school, and end up speaking to people like me as if we're chuffing thick. When if they were actually studying these subjects at school, the first thing that they would have known is not everyone studies it. I know that when I studied ancient Egypt, which wasn't done at school, that was the first thing that I knew while studying ancient Egypt, which again wasn't done when I was at school. That was actually done when I discovered the ancient Egyptian religion. Same with Greece and Roman. So, a lot of us don't really tend to follow and be involved in religions that we tend to study at school. People like myself tend to really, really go out there and get involved in religion which wouldn't consider to some as being the norm, which people would tend to follow whilst being involved in what they studied in religious studies at school. They haven't really gone and branched out and done, what some of us do, which tends to kind of annoy people, really. And it's also mostly the fact to how them sort of people treat people like me and speak to people like me. I know that one incident on Amino, which I really wanted to smack that person in the gob, to be honest, how they were speaking to someone like me, basically calling them thick, and basically saying, well, it's something you would have studied in school. Did they? If it weren't for me stepping in, that person would have been called thick, called stupid, and literally God knows whatever else. So basically I stepped in and told that person to shut up. And I was like, don't assume that everyone studies ancient Egypt at school and that everyone studies the ancient Egyptian religion at school for religious studies, because no, I didn't. I've really, really gone out there. And I was like, doesn't mean to say that we're thick because we're asking certain questions. Because it all goes on the area for the ancient history side of things. And if they haven't studied it at school, how are they to know? You can't just assume that people are thick. So next time that you sort of people want to go labelling people like me as being thick, which is something you guys should have known when studying the ancient Egyptian history, ancient Greek history, ancient Roman history, then all of us study it because it all goes on the area. So when you guys considering labeling someone like me as being thick and stupid, do put it into consideration that we may not have studied it. And it's something that you lot should have known beforehand, that it all goes on the area. So if you were actually involved in studying these ancient cultures, you should have known, the first thing you lot should have known, that it all goes on the area. It's the first thing you lot should have known, because it's the first thing I knew. And I won't think twice about smacking you sort and gob, because I'm literally sick to death to how you sort of go around treating people like me. And it needs to stop. Doesn't mean to say that we're thick or stupid. It means that we haven't studied it in the area. So next time you want to speak to us as if we are thick, do put it into consideration that we may not have studied it due to the area. Because next time, someone won't think twice about smacking you sort and gob. Because I know that I had to step in and defend someone who was literally being spoken to as if they were thick. And I don't tolerate that sort of behaviour. No one has any right to go around speaking to people like that. So just be aware. And also, people like me, we don't tend to follow religion, what we studied in religious studies, because it all goes on what we prefer to do. Like with me, for religious studies, when I grew up in Featherstone in West Yorkshire, my religious studies were Christianity. And then when I moved to Bradford, to West Yorkshire, religious studies in there was the Islam religion and Christianity. There was no pagan religions like Egyptian religion, Greek religion, Roman religion. Because again, it all goes on what you're going to study for religious studies. Not everyone's going to study the ancient Egyptian religion, ancient Greek religion, ancient Roman religion, or even Catholic religion. So when people ask certain questions to do with religion, what I have noticed when I was running the Oracle card chat room page, and also to how someone spoke to me, till I basically told them to shut up and start assuming that I actually studied these at school, because what I studied in religious studies wasn't Catholic. And I really wanted to smack her in gob due to how she was speaking to me. And she basically got cocky. It was like, well, you would have studied this in elementary school. It's like, one, I'm from the United Kingdom. It's primary school in the United Kingdom, not elementary school. And number two, due to where I was living, my religious studies was Christianity when I lived in Featherstone in West Yorkshire. Then when I moved to Bradford, which is part of West Yorkshire, I ended up studying Christianity and the Islam religion, due to Bradford is a Muslim community. So Islam would have been involved in religious studies as well as Christianity. And I was like, it's wrong for you to assume that I would have studied Catholic and this and this. No. And it's always them sort of people that study it all at school that tend to run their mouths to people like me. And if they were actually involved in these ancient cultures as much as they've gone and said that they are, then how come that they don't seem to know, which is the first thing that I knew, that it all goes on the area? Why are them sort of people assuming and basically calling people like me thick? It's wrong. I like I've said, I had to defend someone who was basically being spoken to as if they were thick and stupid. because of people that due to people studying it all in school. Not everyone's going to, because it all goes on the area, and it all goes on what that person's studying for religious studies. So next time you sort of people that study it all in school want to label someone like me as being thick, just put it into consideration, something you guys should have known straight away, that not everyone's going to study it due to the area. And it all goes on what they actually study for religious studies. Because I'll end up questioning whether you guys actually are involved in these religions that you say you are, and whether you are actually studying what you're going to say you're studying, the way you're speaking to people like me that due to the area don't study it. Because it's something you should have known straight away. And I know that people maybe watching this may have actually spoken to someone as if they're thick, because they've been assuming that they've studied it all in the area, when in fact, depends where they are. You know, I know that a lot of people tend to, what others would say be the norm, of staying involved in religions that they've studied in religious studies. I know that tends to piss people off. Mainly because to how they get treated and spoken to by people that study it all in school, like I've been saying, which is one of the reasons why they kind of try and put a kind of a defense up, really. You know, because we generally, I know that I had to step in and basically tell the other person to back off. You know, it's, so I'm basically doing this video to, you know, as basically say, you know, to leave people the fuck alone and stop assuming that everyone studies it at school, and don't speak to people like me as if we're thick. Because next time someone who doesn't study at school may not think twice about smacking you so in gob, to be honest. As you can tell from my videos, I do tend to be upfront and honest. I don't really censor anything. You know, I basically come out and tell how I feel about situations, and what I've actually and what I've also had to help someone. So, you know, as for those of you who have subscribed to my channel, as you know, that I don't really censor anything on my channels. I generally say things to how it is. I don't really kind of come across as if I live perfect experiences, as if I've, you know, done this. I always try and be honest on my channel. And, you know, I'm not the type to really censor anything. I just say things to how it is. I'm actually, you know, like my videos to be really honest and really expressed how I feel about certain situations, and that one really does piss me off. Because when people say that they've actually studied it in school, then they should know that not everyone does, and they have no right to go around treating people like me as if we're thick. Because one of these days, someone won't think twice about smacking them in gob, to be honest. You know, it's how they get cocky with those sort of people that don't study it all in school, and don't study, you know, religions that we're actually involved in school, because we've really gone out there. We haven't done what a lot of us tend to do. You know, so just be mindful next time before you start trying to label someone as being thick. You know, just be really mindful. Otherwise, someone who didn't study at school won't think twice about smacking you in gob and knocking you down a peg or two. Because whilst you're claiming that you're involved in this, then that's the first thing you should have known. Because it's the first thing I knew. I wouldn't say that all of them that actually study these ancient history in school, and that studied the ancient Egyptian religion, Greek, Roman in religious studies, I wouldn't say all of them are like that. Because now I also got talking to people that actually, you know, when I told them, they were like, yeah, because it all goes on in your area. And I, you know, and I get that, you know, certain people that people that study religious studies at school will always study the ancient Egypt, Greece and Roman Catholic religion, you know, because it does all go on the area for the ancient history. Not everyone's going to study for religious studies this and this. So they are quite some that are really understanding and that generally knew beforehand, but there are some that generally get cocky and assume and start labelling people as being thick, like something, well, you should have known this anyway, and you've been to school, that sort of attitude. You know, and it's wrong because it's something they should have known. You know, and it's actually quite disgusting, really. So someone won't think twice about next time about smacking them sort of people in gob. You know, it's basically calling someone thick, and no one has every right to go around. No one has any right to go around speaking to people like that. No one does. So, as you can tell, guys, it's very different, a very honest video. You know, because I really don't like how people speak to people, especially when they haven't studied it in the area and when they don't study the ancient pagan religions, you know, in their religious studies, because not everyone's going to. So next time you want to label something as someone as being stupid and thick, just put all that into consideration, will ya? If you don't want to be smacked in gob. All right, guys. You've been warned. Be mindful. See you next one. Bye, my dears.